All right, baby. So we are diving right into how to break up payment plans when negotiating terms. So what we're going to discuss in this specific video is the keys. All right, the keys to success here. Now, some of this might be a reminder because we talked about some of this in previous modules, but once again, better to be reminded than to be taught. And if I repeat something multiple times, it means it's really important for you to learn. Okay, so the first thing here is when you're negotiating a payment plan, right? We want to imagine it like a game of poker. All right. And what I mean by that is we don't want to reveal all of our cards at once, right? We want to slowly reveal our options so that we have the leverage, right? What a lot of coaches do, and this is a massive mistake, is they go right to their most affordable payment plan, right? So, for example, payment plan, pay in full, what's best for you? They say payment plan, and then they pitch their monthly payment, right? All right, awesome. For 6 months, it's 300 bucks a month, right? And the reason that that's not the best way to go is you have nowhere to go from there, right? If they say no, that doesn't work, you have no negotiation leverage. The only way to go down from there is if you downsell them to your cheaper program. But if you start with a higher option, right? You say, great, the way we break up payment plans is we do half now, half later, right? If they say no to that, you have probably 5 or 6 other options that you can go from there, still get them into that higher package and get a higher, more favorable payment plan for the business, right? So we don't want to play that game of poker. We don't want to reveal all of our cards at once. We want to make sure that we have fallback options that aren't immediately the downsell so we can get the highest possible down payment, which is more upfront cash. More upfront cash is always better for the business, and a more favorable payment plan, which also puts less risk on the business as well. If you have weak payment plans that are small monthly payments for a very long time, it's a lot of risk for the business because it's a long payment plan. Okay, so imagine you're playing a game of poker. That's the first key to success here. Okay, the second thing here is we also want to have the ability and the awareness to read the room. Okay, so what I mean by reading the room is if the prospect is showing early signs that they can't afford a higher per payment plan, sometimes it's best to immediately go to your cheapest option. I know this is kind of contradictory to what I just said, but you'll get this through repetition, right? When you're in the conversation and you're negotiating terms, you'll know in your gut, like, this person probably can't afford, if I went from the top of the ladder, a 2-pay to a 3-pay to a 4-pay, they probably can't afford those options. I better just jump right to the monthly payments. Now, you might be saying, Chad, why would I do that? Well, with every no, so when you present an option and they say no, then you present another option, they say no, you present another option, they say no. With every no, it erodes away at their confidence and their ability to be able to afford your program. And if their confidence and belief and conviction is eroded, then guess what? It becomes more of an uphill battle to actually close this individual into your program, right? So you really want to be able to develop the intuition and the awareness of where the prospect is at to then be able to jump down to your cheapest option if you need to. Now, don't get in the habit of doing that because that will contradict point number one, but there are times that you should do that if you actually want to close the prospect. All right, let me read this last sentence here. I just want to make sure I'm not missing anything. If you truly feel they need something more favorable, you can skip down to the lower options right away to bypass eroding their confidence. You can even frame this in a way that makes them feel special. Okay, so that's what this script is here. All right, this is how I would frame it to make it feel like they're getting a deal, right? So I would say, hey, totally understand if you can't agree to these options. Let's do this instead. I really want to help you with goal, whatever their goal is, insert their goal, and really believe that you're the type of person who's going to work hard and get results, right? So I'm labeling them. You're the type of person that's going to work hard and get results, right? When you label somebody with characteristics, they want to act as you see them, right? They want to prove that the way that you see them is true. So if I say they work hard and get results, they're going to be the type of person that's going to commit, right? So, hey, totally understand if you can't agree to these options. Let's do this instead. I really want to help you lose these 30 pounds. pounds and really believe that you're the type of person who's going to work hard and get results. I have some really favorable payment plans, and I think it might make it easier for you to commit. Would you like to hear them? And that's the exact tonality that I would use. Okay. So that's how I would frame it to make them feel special. Okay, now the next key to success here in terms of negotiating payment plans is always reconfirm their why and that they believe in the program. All right, what a lot of coaches and closers do wrong is they just option shop, right? Once somebody says payment plan, they just start spitballing options. They go, well, can you do this? Can you do this? Can you do this? Can you do this? And that makes you look like a bitch. Excuse my language, but it's true, right? It completely takes you out of the leadership frame and puts you into the I'm desperate to close a deal frame. Okay, so the way that we avoid that from happening is every time we go to present a new option, we want to reconfirm their why, reconfirm they believe in the program, and reconfirm that they are in a resourceful state to make a change, right? So for example, I'll kind of role play it out for you right now. So if I say, awesome, so, payment plan is great. The way that we split that up is half now and half in 90 days. Are we committing to this? They say, no, Chad, I'm just really not sure that that's going to work. Hey, totally get it. Now, before I present other options, because don't worry, we definitely have other options. I just want to make sure, it's still important for you to achieve this goal, right? It's still important for you to lose this weight so you could be a better father or a better mother for your kids. Yeah, Chad, it's really important. Great. And you believe that this program 100% can help you achieve that. I freaking love it. And do I have you in a resourceful state, like mentally you're resourceful to trying to figure that out or try to figure this out? Is that true? Yes, Chad, I am. Awesome. Well, hey, here's our next option, right? See what I'm doing? I'm not just option shopping. That puts me in a position of leadership where I'm still leading the conversation and still leading them to be successful, where I'm not being desperate anymore. Okay, so always reconfirm their why, reconfirm the program. Now, you don't want to be robotic either. All right, you don't want to be robotic either. And robotic would mean that you're just repeating that over and over again. Right? You're between every option, you're reconfirming the why, reconfirming the program, reconfirming resourcefulness. Right? If let's say, for example, you do that after you present option one in between option two, but then let's say option two doesn't work out and now you're going to present option three. I'm probably not going to reconfirm their why and reconfirm the program, but I may say cool, and totally fine if you can't do option two. Like I said, I'm committed to figuring this out. I'm committed to helping you. Do I still have you in a resourceful state? Are you still committed to figuring this out? Amazing. Then I present option three, right? See how I'm still leading. I'm not just option shopping. I'm still asking for commitment, but I'm not asking the same questions over and over again. Okay. And that comes with skill, that comes with repetition. And that's the purpose of the group calls, is so that we can rep those things. Okay, now the fourth and final key here for you to remember when we're negotiating payment plans is always ask for the commitment. 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 You're gonna hear me beat this to death into you. That's my goal, is to beat this into you. I can't tell you how many closers and coaches I've worked with that don't ask for the commitment. They've alleviated the problem, they've found the payment plan that works, and they don't ask for the commitment. Every single time that you feel like you've alleviated all the problems and you've presented an option, you're going to ask for the commitment. And you may have to ask for the commitment 5+ times before they say yes. But very simply, it sounds like this. Awesome. So for the payment plan, it's going to be half now, half later. Are we committing to this? Right? So every time you present an option, are we committing to this? Awesome. Well, hey, I know the other options didn't work. I do have monthly payments. It's $300 down and $300 a month for the next 6 months. Are we committing to this? Right? Are we committing to this? Are we committing to this? Are we committing to this? Every time you present an option, what do? You say, are we committing to this? Write that down in your notes. Are we committing to this? Now, if you want to say it more tactfully, right, you can also say, are we committing to this so we can reach goal once and for all? Hey, are we committing to this so you can lose these 30 pounds once and for all? Right? These are powerful leadership statements. These are commitment statements. These are statements that people respond to and say, you know what? We are freaking committing to this, Chad. Let's do it. Okay. Now, let me see what this last paragraph is. Truthfully, I don't remember what I wrote here, so I'm going to read this one word for word, and then we'll get into the next video. So when a prospect chooses that they want a payment plan, when you present them the pay in full and payment plan option, you will always follow the script in the pitch section to identify a down payment and a payment plan. Below, we're going to discuss, okay, all right, I know what we're doing here. So if in the pitch section of the previous module, the pre-pitch and the pitch module, right? I gave you a script on how to handle payment plans if there are no issues. Okay, so for example, we get the down payment first, then we figure out the rest. Now, there's always going to be issues, right? There might be an issue with the down payment where you're having a hard time figuring out the down payment, and there might be an issue where you're having a hard time where you figured out the down payment, but then you're having a hard time figuring out the rest. Okay, so in the next two videos, I'm going to teach you what to do in those scenarios. All right, let's go ahead and learn how to handle the down payment section. Okay, so you're struggling to get a down payment. It's not an easy, I'll put this down. All right, here's what you're going to do. So just as a recap, if they do say payment plan, this is what you say next, right? So you say, awesome. That's what most of our clients do anyways. For the payment plan section, let's go ahead and discuss the down payment first, and then we can figure out the rest. So currently what most of our students are putting down is anywhere from blank to blank. What down payment do you feel most comfortable with within that range? All right, now, a lot of people are just going to say, oh, I feel comfortable with 500 bucks, with $1,000, whatever that range is, okay, that you're presenting. Now for the range, obviously you're going to have a low end of the range and you're going to have a high end of the range, okay? Now, if they say the higher end of the range, I always like to present them the split pay in full. All right, so I will actually give them the pay in full discount, but we will take half now and half later. Now, the reason that I want to do that, right? So just skipping to the benefit here is this is going to get you the total package paid off much sooner, right? So you're actually going to be able to, yes, you're giving up a little because you're giving them the pay in full, but you're getting the total package. You're getting the full sum of the package much sooner, usually within 60 days, 60 to 90 days, right? You're also likely going to get a higher cash up front, right? Because usually it's like, all right, the higher end of the range, they just have to pay a little bit more, but you'll get them that split pay in full. So let's say that it's a $4,000 package. They're willing to put $1,500 down. You present them, hey, I'll give you that pay in full discount if you could pay me an extra 500 bucks now, right? A lot of people will take that give and take. So now you're getting a higher upfront cash, and you're lowering the risk because it's not a long-term payment plan anymore, right? So in my opinion, it's a win for the client. It's also a win for the business. And I'm all about win-wins. When you could present a win-win, usually you're going to get a yes to that. All right, so here's how I would present that. Okay, so I would say, you know, amazing. Since you're willing to put X down, since you're willing to put $1,500 down, why don't we just do this instead? I'll actually give you the pay in full discount. This way you save the $1,000. You still can put down 1,500, or what you can say is if you're willing to put down a little bit more and bring it up to 2,000, then your remaining payment could be paid off in 60 days. So your remaining payment of 2,000 can be in 60 days. This way you get to save X. You know, how does that sound? Does that sound fair to you? Right? So that's how I would present it. Now, making it more clean, I know I stopped and kind of talked in the middle. It would sound like this. Amazing. Now, since you're willing to put X down, why don't we just do this instead? I'll give you the pay in full price. This way you save X dollars. You can still put X down. I'm not going to pause shit. I want to pause because I want to tell you. You can also say it the other way. And then your remaining amount of X will be due 60 days from today. This way you still get to save X. How does that sound? Does that sound fair to you? Right? So that's how it would be said. All right. Now, if they give you pushback, I am willing to push it out 90 days, but no further than that. I will never give somebody a split pay in full if they can't pay it off within a 90-day window. Ideally, I want it within 60 days. Heck, if you want to push and do 30 days, 45 days, by all means, go ahead, push it, right? Push the limit if that's what you want to do, right? Just remember, you can say you can still put X down, or you can say if you can go a little bit higher, then I'm willing to give you that split pay in full. Okay. So that's what I would say if they say the higher end of the range. All right. If they say they can't do anything in that range, it is a good litmus test for their financial ability. Now, if they say they can do the lower end of the range, just go ahead, take the payment, process the rest, right? And then figure out the rest, which we'll talk about in the next video. So really the only two scenarios here is they say the higher end of the range, then that's what you're going to say. If they say the lower end of the range, then I would just take that down payment, just go for it, and then figure out the rest. Okay. Now, if they say no to this, right, then, we'll just take the down payment that they agreed to, and then we'll figure out the rest, right? But the other scenario here is they say that they can't do anything within that range, right? I'm just not sure if I could do anything in that range, right? It's a pretty good litmus test for their financial ability. And that's why I really like to break up negotiating the payment plan with starting with the down payment and then figuring out the rest, because it's really going to give you a good, once again, litmus test, not to repeat the same word, of what they can actually do. All right. Now, before proceeding to another option, here's what I'm going to say, right? So I'm just not sure if I could do anything within that range. I would say, hey, totally get it. No worries at all. I do have other options. Now, before we go ahead and discuss those, I just want to confirm it's still important for you to lose these 30 pounds so you could be a better father. Is that right? I tend to use that example a lot, so just get used to it, right? But fill in whatever their goal is, fill in whatever their why is. All right, they're going to say yes to that. So now I'm reconfirming, and I'm also re-bringing up. So I'm connecting them emotionally to their why. All right, and now I also want to confirm that they still believe in the program. And the reason I ask this is because sometimes it has nothing to do with the money, right? Sometimes it has to do with something else, right? So I'm trying to fish out answers, right? I'm trying to, one, confirm that they believe in these things, but two, I'm also fishing for answers, because if they say, I'm also actually really not sure about the program, right, then I can solve that problem. All right, so I would say, and you still believe that company, insert your company's name, can help you reach that goal, right? They say yes. Okay, now if they answer no here, right, your role is to identify what's missing, go back into the presentation, clarify, because a lot of times they just didn't hear you or they don't remember. And then you ask them if there's anything else they feel like they need, or does this cover it all? Okay, all right. So you don't believe in the program. That's no worries at all. I just want to make sure I was extra clear. What do you feel like was missing? Okay, not enough support. Well, hey, let me just go back to the support slide. Let me go through it one more time. Just make sure that you have full clarity, and then we can go from there. Bing, 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 bing. Now that you've seen this, is there anything else you feel like you need, or does that cover it all? Oh, Chad, thanks for that. That really helps me clarify. No, I feel good. This is actually enough support. Cool. All right. So that's what that would look like, right? So they say they believe in the company. All right. So next thing I'm going to say here is, hey, love to hear it. So if money is the only concern, are you open to getting resourceful so we can come up with a payment plan that's fair for you, but also fair for us? All right. So what did I do? Connected them emotionally, tied down that they believe in the program. All right, now I'm getting them in a resourceful state. The only purpose of this sentence here is to get us on the same side of the table and to get them resourceful. Come up with a payment plan that's fair for you, but also fair for us, right? That's getting us on the same side of the table. Are you open to getting resourceful? Now they're in a resourceful mindset. Okay, so now they say yes, right? So all of this happened before I present them the next option. Okay, so I just want to read this note really quick. So at this point, like I mentioned, the down payment process is a really good litmus test for us. With this information, I'm likely going to skip, right? So if they can't afford anything in the down payment, this to me would be a signal of, hey, maybe I don't present them some of the more favorable payment plans for the business. Maybe I jump to more favorable payment plans for them. Okay, so that would be one of those examples. So with this information, I might skip to monthly payments. If that doesn't work, I'll present in-house financing or financing. If that doesn't work, I'll downsell. All right, but let's go back. So now they say, yes, I'm open to getting resourceful. So here's what I would say from here. I would say, awesome. So let's do this instead. I really want to help you with goal and really believe that you're the type of person who's going to work hard and get results. Once again, there's that labeling, right? I can adjust the down payment so it's just X, right? A lower down payment. Usually this is going to be first month's payment, right? If it was a monthly payment plan, it would be first month's payment, right? I wouldn't go any lower than that. So when you are coming up with your range of down payments, right? Like don't make the lowest the first month's payment already. Make it a little bit higher than that. This way you can actually have room to go down to that first month's payment, right? And then you would say, does that sound fair? Okay, so they say yes, that sounds fair. All right, if they say no, then that's when I'm going to drop down to in-house financing or downsell them altogether. Okay, once they say yes, that down payment works, I would say great. And for the remaining, we could do the same amount, whatever it is we can do. So let's just say it's 300 a month. Great. So for the remaining, we could do 300 a month for the next 6 months. Does that sound fair to you? Right? If they say yes, we close the deal. We say, amazing. Are we committing to this and accomplishing goal once and for all? They say yes. And then we go ahead and we close the deal. Now, if they say no, then once again, I'm probably going to drop down to in-house financing or downsell them all together. All right, so that is everything that I would do to handle the down payment section. All right, in the next video, we're going to talk about handling the rest of the payment plan. All right, so in this section, we're going to talk about how to handle the rest of the payment after the down payment. All right, now you're probably like, damn, Chad, we're freaking crushing this module. I know, and we're just getting started. This one has a lot of value. All right. So these two questions here are simply just reminders. As you guys know, these questions are already in the pre-pitch and pitch module. Okay. But as a refresher, let's go ahead and go through them. So you've successfully handled the down payment. And when I say handle the down payment, I'm not saying like you've already taken the payment. I'm saying you've agreed on terms on what the down payment is going to be. Okay. Now from there, you would say, great. And how do you prefer to split up the rest? Do you like smaller monthly payments, or do you actually like larger payments, but more spread out, more time in between? All right. Now, depending on their answer, whether they say smaller monthly or larger chunks, it doesn't matter. You're still going to say the same thing. You're still going to present what that's going to look like. So you would say, great. So with X dollars down, your remaining payments would be blank. What do you say? Are we committing to this and accomplishing, insert their goal once and for all? All right. Now, if they said smaller monthly payments, right, then simply we just have to do the math. All right. We just have to take the total payment, subtract the down payment, and then figure out what their monthly payments are going to be. Now, for me, I like to have their first monthly payment be 30 days from that day because they're making a down payment, and the down payment is usually going to be larger than the first month's payment. Okay. So 30 days from the down payment would be their first payment. Now, because of that, you can't spread it out all the payments over the full term, right? You have to remove one of the months. Okay, so let's go ahead and give you an example on what I just said. So let's say it's a $6,000 package. Let's say it's a 6-month program. Okay, let's say they put $3,000 down. So now they have $3,000 remaining. So since they're not making that first payment until the 30th day, instead of splitting it up over 6 months, because that would mean that we are taking payment that day, or we're extending it one month past the term, which we don't want to do, right? Then we actually have to spread it out over the 5 remaining months, or 5 payments, right? So the remaining balance would be 5 payments of $600. All right, so here's how that would sound if I was presenting it to them. So I would say, amazing. All right, so with $3,000 down, your remaining payments will be 5 payments of $600, and your first $600 payment won't be until 30 days from today. So what do you say? Are we committing to this and losing these 100 pounds once and for all? All right, so that's how I would present that. Okay. Now, on the flip side of the spectrum, if they said they want larger chunks more spread out, we have a little bit more discretion on how we can split that up, right? And this is when I would follow that descending ladder principle, right? So when I say descending ladder principle or playing the game of poker, I'm talking about starting with an option that's more favorable for the business and then working my way down to something that's more favorable for the client, right? So, starting with breaking it up over 2 payments, 3 payments, 4 payments, etc. All right. So let me give you an example of what that would look like. Excuse me. So I would say, awesome. All right. So with $3,000 down, your remaining payment of $3,000 would be from 90 days from today, or 45 days, 60 days. It doesn't matter. You can come up with when you want that second payment. But if I'm presenting a 2 payment, that's how it would sound. I would say, great. So with $3,000 down, your second payment of $3,000 would be 90 days from today. So what do you say? Are we committing to this and losing these 100 pounds once and for all? Right? So that's how that would sound. Now, if they say no to that, right, I wouldn't go through the trouble of like reconfirming their why, reconfirming the program. You can do that if you want, but simply because we're already farther into the process, I'm just gonna confirm that they're resourceful to figuring this out, and then present the next option, which is the three payments. Okay. So here's, if they say no, then this is what I would say, right? So they say no to the two payments. This is what I would say. I would say, hey, no worries at all. I feel really confident that we can still help you. And I want to come up with something that actually works for you. Are you open to getting resourceful so we can come up with a payment option that's fair to you, but also fair to us? Right. So I'm just once again getting on the same side of the table, asking for their hand in resourcefulness, and then confirming and presenting the next option from there. All right. So they're going to say yes to that. Then I'm going to present the three payments. Okay. Then they say no to that, probably going to reconfirm that they're resourceful and present the next option. Right. So if they say no to that, right, then I would just simply say, hey, I get it. Do I still have you in a resourceful state? They say yes. Then I present the next option from there. Now, if they continue to object, right, you've worked them all the way down to the monthly payments, right? Or you skip to the monthly payments and they still can't do that, right? Then at that point, because there's so much damage, there's so much like, no, 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 I can't do this, I can't do this, I can't do this. At that point, I want to reconfirm their why and reconfirm they believe in the program, and then go ahead and present in-house financing and financing, right? So what I would say there is I would say, hey, totally get it. I do still have other options. Before we discuss those, though, I just want to confirm it's still important for you to lose these 100 pounds so that you could be a better mother for your children. Is that right? Yes, cool. And you still believe that our program can get you there? Amazing. And then I would present that next option. All right. And that's exactly what we're going to talk about in the next video, is how to present your in-house financing or third-party financing. All right. So let's go ahead and talk about it. Some of this will be a refresher because we already talked about in-house financing in the product suite optimization module. But this is the first time that you're hearing about third-party financing or financing. Okay, so let's go ahead and define the two. So in-house financing means everything's happening within your business. You don't actually need to be partnered with a financing company. You yourself are just choosing to extend the payment plans. Now, there's going to be interest on that if you're extending the payment plan. For example, if you have a 6-month contract and you're making it an 8-month contract, you're going to increase the total amount of the contract because there's interest on that, right? Or perceived interest, right? Because you're not actually partnered with a bank there. All right, and then you also have, or you can have, third-party financing. Now, third-party financing is when you actually are going through a bank. You're actually going through a lender, and you yourself would have to find a lender to partner with, and then you guys would go through an onboarding process. And I'll give you some recommendations on lenders that are good inside of the coaching space there. Now, when you get to, or if you get to this point in payment plan negotiations with a client, I would present in-house financing first because you're not involving another party and it's still within, your business. All right. And I would present financing or third-party financing last. Or you could opt to never have third-party financing. You don't have to have third-party financing. You could just do your own in-house financing as well. All right, now I'm not going to go through this section here, in-house financing. All of this was copied and pasted from the product suite optimization module. So if you need a refresher, though, you can reread it and have a full, idea and context of what in-house financing is. Okay. But this is the first time that I'm talking about financing. Okay. So I do recommend having this as a fallback option. But once again, if you just don't like the idea of this, you don't have to have it. But basically, this is partnering with a financing company that's willing to lend loans to your clients. Now, the reason, the benefit of this is they're going to be willing to extend a payment plan much further than you're going to be willing to extend a payment plan in-house, right? As you can see in these examples here with in-house, your 4-month goes to a 7-month, your 6-month goes to a 9-month, your 12-month goes to a 15-month, right? You're extending it about 3 months, and you're probably not going to be willing to, nor should you be willing to extend it further than that, right? And you're going to add, anywhere from like 10 to 20% interest on top of these package prices. Now, with with third-party financing, they are willing. Sometimes I've seen them extend payment plans up to 7 years, right? 7 years for a 6-month contract, right? So that could be a lot more favorable for your client and actually be the reason why your client signs because their monthly payments are so significant, so significantly low that it's a no-brainer for them to sign on, right? So that's why I recommend having it. I do also understand if you don't want to have it though, like you just don't want to present that or you don't feel like that's aligned with your business, that's totally fine. I just wanted to give you all the information. Okay, so these are companies that I researched and found. I've actually used this company and I've used this company. Both companies are good. Coach Financing is super easy to use. Fund My Contract is easy to use as well. I would say probably a little bit more complex, but I actually would say I've had more success actually getting people loans with Fund My Contract than Coach Financing. So I personally, if I was you, I would try out both and see which one you like better. All right. But once you pick one, reach out, fill out their application. They take it from there. They'll onboard you. They'll coach you through all the steps, and you'll have a support team to, reach out if you have any questions at any time. So, is it easy to set up? I wouldn't say it's easy, but in my opinion, it's worth it. All right, and then these are some other ones that I researched and found online, and you could check those out as well. All right, but I just want to be candid. I've only tried these two. Okay, so now how do we actually present this on a call? So first, I'm going to teach you how to present in-house financing. Then I'll teach you how to present financing. Slightly different approaches, not too far off, but let's go ahead and get through it. Okay, so keep in mind, right? They've been denied multiple options at this point. They're probably feeling a little discouraged. So it's always a good idea and it's always good practice to re-engage them. Now, you did kind of already re-engage them here, right? But I don't mind re-engaging. I don't mind just keep re-engaging, right? Like there's no downside to it really. Other than they might say like, are you repeating yourself, right? But I've never had any pushback if I've continuously re-engaged. Okay, so what I'm going to say here, totally get it. The last payment option I have for you is our in-house financing program, or you can name it whatever you want, right? This will get you the most extended payment plan. All right, now before I go through it, I just want to hear you're still committed to finding a solution to this goal, right? Yes, yes, I am. Cool. And I still have you in a resourceful state. Yes, you do. All right. So let's go ahead and break this down. Okay. So the thing that you really want to say here, hey, totally get it. This is the last payment plan option I have for you. We call this in-house financing. The part that you really want to say though is this will get you the most extended payment plan. Now, before I go through it, blah, 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 right? You know the rest. Okay. So just make sure you say the value of it. The value of it is this will get you the most extended payment plan. They want to hear that. Okay. That also will get them excited, give them a little bit of hope as well. All right. Then I'll say, hey, I knew you were committed. Okay, so with in-house financing, because we are extending the payment plan out, there is a little bit of interest. So the total package price is going to go up. All right, so I start with the bad news first. All right, giving them the bad news first. All right. However, it could take the payment plan from X months to X months, from 6 months to 9 months, from 12 months to 15 months, from 4 months to 7 months, whatever it is, the package that you're talking about. Okay. This is going to lower your monthly payment. Good news, good news. So bad news, good news, good news. Also, if you pay the original amount by the end of the term, we will honor the original price. So basically what that means is if it's a 6-month contract, you extended it out to 9 months, but they pay the original price by 6 months. You'll just give them the same as cash. You'll give them whatever the 6-month price is. This gives them a little bit extra incentive to pay it off early. Okay. Another good news. Bad news, good news, good news, good news. I'm stacking good news. All right. Then I'll say, would you like to hear what this comes out to? All right. So just asking them, do they want to hear about it? Okay. If they say yes, then we'll go here. If they say no, then last ditch effort, I would go ahead and downsell them to your downsell. Okay. So this is what we say here. All right. Now they say yes. Yes, I want more information on that. That sounds great. All right. So then I'd say, great. So we're going to extend the payment plan from X months to X months, from 6 months to 9 months. Because of the total package price will go, because of that, the total package price will go up to blank, right? So whatever that is, right? So bad news, but your monthly payment will go from blank to blank. following that with good news, right? We always want to present bad news and follow it with good news, right? So once again, because of that, the total package price will go up to blank, but your monthly payment will go from 500 a month to 250 a month. Also, if you pay out the original amount by the end of the term, we're going to honor that price, as you already know. Re-bringing up the good news. What do you say? Are we committing to this and losing these 100 pounds once and for all? Right? So that's how I would present it. That would be my closing statement there. All right. Now, how do we actually present third-party financing? It's a little bit different. The only thing that's different is just the explanation of it all. Right? So, same thing here. I still am going to get them committed, get them recommitted to finding a solution, ask them if they're in a resourceful state. None of that changes. The only thing that changes is how we present it. Okay. So you probably need context here first. So once they say yes, that they do want to go through the financing process with you, you're going to share your screen and take them through the financing process. So basically, what I'm trying to say here is like that's the difference from in-house financing. Okay, so let's go ahead and explain it. All right, so amazing. So how this works is we're partnered with a third-party financing company called XYZ. I would love to walk you through a quick soft credit check so it won't affect your credit score. All right, that's only going to take me a couple of minutes. Then from there, you're going to be presented options right away. Now, I've seen some clients get options up to 7 years with monthly payments as low as $50. Want to at least give it a try and see what you get? All right, so here's what I do. Okay, so from here, we're partnered with a third-party financing company, call a name, give them the name, right? Makes it feel more legit. All right. I'm going to walk you through a soft credit check, which I say this here, but I would only say that if the financing company does a soft credit check, and I would only partner with the company that does do a soft credit check. This way, if they're denied, it doesn't affect their credit score. Okay. And then I say it's only going to take a couple of minutes, so it doesn't sound daunting time-wise, right? And then you're getting presented options right away. So it satisfies their craving of seeing if they get an option right away, right? Then I say I've seen some clients get their payment plan up to X amount of years. That's exciting. That gives them hope. And I've seen monthly payments as low as blank, right? Whatever the lowest one is that you've seen gives them hope. And then the way that I frame this last question here is a no-brainer for them to at least try it, right? So we say, want to at least give it a try and see what you get, right? It's a no-brainer. Okay, so that's how I would present that, slightly different. And then because you've been onboarded by the financing company, they'll walk you through what next steps are. But usually it's sharing the screen, taking them through the soft credit check, presenting them the options, and then closing the deal, right? Once you find the option that's good, you just say, amazing, are we committing to this? As you guys already know. All right, so that's everything you need to know about in-house financing and third-party financing.